Hare Krishna. So, today we continue our discussion on the topics of surrender. Hare Krishna Maharaj. Would you like to change the seat? Would you like to change the seat? Hare Krishna. Please bless me that I can say something about surrender to Krishna. Yes. So, we discussed previous days first what surrender is. And we said that basically it means that it's to give up our freedom, and that the idea of having freedom is just illusion. Therefore we can choose our bondage. This is our freedom. Either be bound by material modes, by illusion, or to be bound by love, by Lord Krishna's spiritual energy, by Srimati Radharani. And we discussed then this anukulyasya-sankalpaha, what is favorable for devotional service. And we discussed these 6 items that Rupa Goswami mentions in Upadeshamrita that are favorable for devotional service. Utsaha nishchaya taryat tat tat karma pravardhanat sanga tyagat satovriti shadbir bhakti prasidyati. One should have enthusiasm, strong enthusiasm, and firm conviction. Without conviction, we cannot do anything. So we should be convinced about the process of pure devotional service. And of course we should be very patient. And we also mentioned that this patience, Bhaktivinoda Thakur connects the patience with to tolerate these urges of the body, which Rupa Goswami mentions in the first verse of Upadeshamrita. Yes. And then we discussed that we should perform our devotional service, tat karma pravartate, and also to give up the association of worldly people and to follow the example of great souls. So today we'll continue our discussion on the things pratikulyasya-varjanam. That means to reject what is unfavorable for devotional service. As we said, that kulya means the river bank. That means pratikulyasya means what is the on opposite bank. That means what is averse to Krishna, actually. It's not, anukulyasya means on the same bank, what is favorable for Krishna, and pratikulyasya means on the other bank, what is averse to Krishna, actually. Averse to devotional service to Krishna. So, it is explained also in Upadeshamrita in the 2nd verse what is detrimental for our devotional service. And Rupa Goswami states that atyahara prayasascha prajalpanyamagraha janasangascha laulyamcha shadbir bhaktir vinashati. And, vinashati means to destroy. So these 6 items destroy our devotional service. And first one is atyahara. Ahara means to take. And therefore usually we translate this as eating. And it is also the meaning of eating. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains It's not just overeating, because Rupa Goswami states as Jihva Vegam, the urge of the tongue is about eating, and urge of the belly also. So if he would again focus just on eating, it would be punar ukti, that means unnecessary repetition. So Prabhupada also translates this as over collecting things. That means taking. But it's not just collecting things or eating, but all kinds of taking. It's interesting that these senses are taking all the time something. That means overfeeding our eyes, overfeeding our ears, overfeeding our nose, sense of smell, and overfeeding our touch. Everything is against devotional service if it is not favorable for this purpose. Yes. So we should be careful with what kind of food we feed our eyes, and with what kind of food we feed our ears, and so on. Yes, this is extremely important in our life, because there are so many sense objects in this world that can be enjoyed by our senses, and we cannot stop our senses. It's not possible. Yes. Also, Lord Krishna explains that one cannot be inactive even for a moment. Nahi kashit kshanamapi jatutishtati karmatit karate heveshah karma jantur prakriti sarva prakriti jaguna. That one cannot be inactive even for a moment. But we know that we act through our senses. We cannot act without our senses. So, yes, we should engage our senses in devotional service. That means that we don't use them unnecessarily. For example, if we take this eating propensity, we eat just prasad. Of course, prasad is very tasty, but we can see that many devotees don't eat just prasadam. And this is, of course, very harmful for our devotional service, as we know that consciousness of the one who prepares some food enters into the food. It's like also entering into the painting, for example. If there is some painting on the wall which is very depressing, it affects our consciousness. We cannot be joyful if there is very depressing scene, isn't it? So it affects our consciousness. Everything done in this material world affects our consciousness. So, but food prepared by anyone also affects our consciousness very much. So if it is prepared for the pleasure of the Lord, it affects our consciousness by devotional service, by devotional feelings, by desires to please the Lord, to serve the Lord, to advance in our Krishna consciousness. But if it is filled with material desires, then unconsciously, subconsciously, we will be influenced by these material desires. And we can check within our heart how many material desires we have. Usually unlimited material desires. Who can count how many material desires we have? Yes. Because we live in such an environment, we cannot go outside. Very difficult to not to be in touch with materialistic consciousness, because we live in material world. Yes. Whoever we meet that he is not a devotee has a material consciousness. So therefore we should be so much more on guard to avoid this as much as possible. Contact with material consciousness. So if we go out and distribute books and so on, we are protected by the order of the spiritual master if we go with the intention of pleasing him. But if we perform this service with envy towards other devotees, I want to distribute more books than others, and I'm morose if I don't, then this is material consciousness, and will be influenced also by material consciousness of other people. So we should be on guard all the time to curb our tendencies to be envious. Yes. Atyahara. And of course, Prabhupada translates, this is over collecting things. We don't need much in our life. Once I heard very interesting thought or instruction, maybe you can say, by Jayadvaita Maharaj. He said that one's expenditure should be as close to zero as possible. Then we are very much free in our life. If we don't endeavor to collect things, we don't need much, actually. What do we need? We don't need. There was some in some Pacific country or where, in Indonesia or somewhere, there was a president, a dictator actually, who oppressed his nation very much, people. And they had to pay big taxes and live very poorly. But then somehow or other, this dictator was defeated or something, and they found out that his wife had, I don't know, 10,000 pairs of shoes or something, of different shoes. And she, of course, considered that she needs all these shoes. But how much shoes do we really need? Or anything else? Basically, we need very little. Yes. So we shouldn't endeavor to collect things. Especially, this is detrimental for those who are in renounced orders of life. I knew one brahmachari who had full closet of different things, like more than grihastas. Yes. Not just one closet, more than one closet. So we should be careful not to collect things unnecessarily. And we know, because in modern world, people are always in anxiety, and they try to satisfy this anxiety by by buying things. Yes. The shopping malls are modern temples. People are going there, and because they feel lonely and afraid and full of anxiety, they buy things because they think that this will satisfy their cravings for something they don't even know what it is. But basically it's relationship. We all need loving relationships, but they think that they can establish relationship with things, which is of course craziness. Yes. So, and this is the purpose of demoniac society, that everyone should be in anxiety. Because if one is in anxiety and afraid, he's easily controlled. And he's a good customer. So, we should be aware of this. And we shouldn't collect things. We should make friendship with devotees. Yes. That's important. This is atyahara. And then it is prayasa. Prayasa means over endeavor. Everything what is exaggeration is detrimental for our devotional service. As Krishna also explains this in 6th chapter of Bhagavad-gita. Natyashnatastu yogusti nachekanta manashnataha nachatishta apna shilasya jagrato neva charjana. If one sleeps too much or too little, or if he eats too much, or if he doesn't eat enough, he cannot devote himself to perform to yoga. And if you are not exaggerating in our life, if we are yukta hara viharasya, yukta chestasya karmasu, yukta svapnava bodhasya, yogo bhavati dukkha. If we are moderate in eating, sleeping, in performing work, or in recreation, we can devote ourselves to spiritual life and be free from all miseries, Krishna says. Yeah. So we should be moderate in eating, in collecting things, and also in our endeavors. Yes. So, but endeavors for spiritual advancement is not our endeavor. But we should have enough sleep and enough food, but not too much sleep and not too much food. Yeah. So we should endeavor with great determination, as we explained yesterday, for devotional service, and accept whatever comes on its own accord in our life, actually. And that doesn't mean that we should endeavor to collect money, even if we are grihastas. This is not our mission. Collecting money is not a mission of a grihasta. We should know this. Because many times we can hear, even devotees, that they think if you are grihasta, your duty is, of course, to support your family, which is true. But your mission is not to collect a lot of money. As Prabhupada says, we should just keep our soul and body together. This is the purpose of our life, not to over-collect money. Our mission in Grihastha life is to be Krishna conscious. It's as simple as that. It's not to collect money, but this is our duty, but our mission is to be Krishna conscious. And because the dharma of Grihastha ashram is to have children, our mission is to make our children also Krishna conscious, and our wife and husband. This is our mission. Guru nasasyat svajano nasasyat, pita nasasyat janini nasasyat, devam natasyan napatishcha sasyan namocheti aksamapeti mrityum. Lord Rishabhadeva explains in 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam that one shouldn't become a guru nasasyat, svajano nasasyat, even a relative. We shouldn't become a relative if we are not able to deliver those who depend on us. And we shouldn't become a father or mother or husband or even a worshipful deity. Devam natasyan. We should not become a deity. That means that we shouldn't put deities which are not able to deliver us on the altar. Yes. That means that we should put Krishna and his expansions, primary expansions on the altar. Yes. Like here we can see Radha, Govinda Madhava, and Gauranitai, and Krishna Balaram. These are the deities that can deliver us. Yes. So we shouldn't put the deities that are not able to deliver us on the altar. Yes. Devam natasyan napatishcha sasyan. And we shouldn't become a husband. If we are not serious enough to deliver our wife and children, we shouldn't become a husband or a father or a mother. This is a very important topic, but it's too broad to be focused on this. Because mother is the first guru of a child. And whatever her consciousness is, when the child is very small, a baby, that stays with the child till the end of his life. Yes, most definitely. There is a song in Slovenian, folk song. It says, I'm Slovenian. That's what my mother said when she cuddled me in her lap. And from cradle to grave, my fidelity will not waver a bit. So we can see how strong is this influence of a mother. Whatever a child drinks with his mother's milk, it stays forever in his heart. So those of us who didn't receive this Krishna consciousness with mother's milk are deprived of this blessing of mother being a proper guru. Yes. So we should give this out to our children. So this should be our focus in Grihastha ashram, to make our children Krishna conscious. Yes. This is prayasa. Prayasa means everything that is unfavorable endeavor for anything else than Krishna consciousness. Then it is prajalpa. We discussed prajalpa yesterday also. Yes, prajalpa means unnecessary talk. So as Bhaktivinoda Thakur put it, we should take mauna vrata, to be silent. And this of course means that we should speak only Krishna Katha and things related to devotional service and nothing else. If we can see that we don't have anything to speak about Krishna or devotional service, we should be silent. Or if we are in the society of people who don't speak Krishna Katha, we should be silent. We should not participate in such a discussion, in such a conversation. Yes. Prajalpa. Basically, this is gossip. And also the instruction of Lord Chaitanya was Gramya kata na shunibe, Gramya bharta na kahibe. So we should not hear Gramya kata, or ordinary talk, and we should not speak it also. Yes. So this comes from Lord Chaitanya himself. So it's really important instruction for every one of us. And we know this urge of speech is so strong. So we should cultivate, and we can cultivate this tolerance of this urge of speech by hearing, by proper hearing and chanting, by Shravanam Kirtanam. We cannot, we have no power, in fact, to control our urges ourselves. Therefore, we discuss these items of surrender. We should surrender to Krishna. Yeah. Only Krishna can help us. He himself is speaking like this. Devi hiesha gunamayi mama maya duratya mam eva ye prapadanti maya metantarantiti. We cannot go beyond this maya. It's impossible. Yes. It's Krishna's energy, and what power we have to go beyond Maya? No power at all. And also our instruments, as long as we are conditioned soul, we said yesterday that are just material. Our senses are material. Our intelligence is material. Our mind is material. So with something that is material, we cannot go beyond matter. And this is explained also in Shastra. Atak Shri Krishna namadi nabhaved grahyam indriyai sevan mukhe hi jivado swayam eva spuratyada. So we cannot grasp Krishna with our material senses. It's impossible. Nabhaved grahyam indriyai. So grahyam means to grasp. Indriya means senses. It's impossible to grasp Krishna by our senses. But by service, by surrendering to Krishna, Atakshi Krishna namadi nabhavet grahyam indriya sevan mukhe hi jivado. Seva means service. Sevan mukhe hi jivado. By beginning by tongue, and this means, of course, tasting, as we today explained, and speaking. We should engage our tongue in the service of Krishna. Swayam eva spuratyadaha. Only then he himself will reveal himself. Yes. It's not in our power to attract Krishna, to force him to reveal himself. But Swayam eva, he himself will reveal himself. Yes, by his own will. So yes, we engage our urge to speech in devotional service. We should engage and avoid idle gossip for all means. For all means, yes. It's detrimental for our devotional service. Atyahara prayasascha, prajalpa and niyamagraha. Niyamagraha is very interesting concept. And it has two meanings. One is to follow regulative principles without proper understanding. And the other meaning is not to follow different regulative principles. That doesn't apply just to these four regulative principles, but to all different principles of devotional service and spiritual life. So it is explained that we should follow the principles that are conducive for our stage of devotional service. Yes. Especially, this was written by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who lived in an environment that was still quite traditional, and therefore many people stuck with the principles of karma kanda. So, and this we can also think that it's our duty to satisfy some social position in this world, to satisfy some demands of society, some worldly society. But this is atyahara, unnecessary rules. We don't need to follow these. In fact, it's, as Rupa Goswami says, it's detrimental for our devotional service. Yes. We have extreme examples also by the teachings of Lord Jesus. There was some disciple and he said that, my father died, can I go and bury him? And he said, let the dead bury their dead. Hare Krishna. So, of course, that doesn't mean that we neglect our parents and we should do everything for their benefit. But we should take this idea that worldly duties shouldn't become an obstacle to our spiritual duties, to our spiritual life. If they become an obstacle to our spiritual life, they're detrimental. Yes. And of course, if we don't follow what we should follow, is also an obstacle, and it will also destroy our spiritual life. So if we are lacking our principles, it's detrimental for our spiritual life. For example, one principle is to fast on Ekadashi. And once I was distributing prasad in the temple on Ekadashi, and there was a line of devotees, and I heard a conversation of two devotees, and one devotee asked another, would you like to have pizza? And he said, but today is Ekadashi. And he answered, you shouldn't be such a fanatic. So, we should know what are the principles of devotional service, and we should follow them. Otherwise, Maya will just crush us. Yes. It's impossible to resist Maya if you are not serious. Because if you are not serious, Krishna will see. You don't want to be serious. And you don't want to endeavor with your full heart for devotional service. So it is explained also in 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Muktim dadati karhichit smana bhakti-yoga. Krishna easily gives mukti, but not bhakti. Because bhakti has power to control him. And he doesn't want to be controlled by those who are not serious, who don't have real deep love for him. So it's not easy to get bhakti. Yes, we should be very serious. And basically, it is explained in Shastra, Smartavyak satatam Vishnur vismartavyo na jatuchit sarve vidi nishedaksyur etaver eva kinkara. that there are many rules and prescriptions in Shastra, and there are many prohibitions also. So, how to know all of them? There are millions and millions of shlokas in Shastra. But we should follow basic principles, two basic principles. Smartavyak satatam Vishnur vismartavena jatuchit. So, sarva vidi nishedaksur etarevya kinkara. All prohibitions of Shastra and all injunctions of Shastra are just servants of one prohibition and one injunction. And this one injunction is to always remember Krishna. Smartavyak satatam Vishnu. And one prohibition is to never forget. Vismartavena jatuchit. So we should judge our principles if they are conducive to remember Krishna and not to forget him. This is basic principle. Yes. So if our devotional service, following the rules of devotional service, is just distracting us from remembering Krishna, there are obstacles. So we should follow them with proper consciousness, with proper intention to please Krishna, to remember Krishna, to please his devotees. Then they are not niyamagraha. But if we follow Ekadashi, full fast, without even drinking water, and we don't sleep whole night, but we think how superior we are to other devotees because of this, this is niyamagraha. Then our stomach is fasting maybe, but our ego, false ego, is feasting. Yes. Yes. So we should have proper understanding of rules and regulations and apply them accordingly. That's conducive for our Krishna consciousness, to our remembering of Krishna. Jana Sangha is the next one that is detrimental. Jana Sangha we discussed yesterday because it's so important that Rupa Goswami put it in two verses, one by one. One is to avoid the association of non-devotees, and the other is what is detrimental is to associate with non-devotees. And this is not just associating with non-devotees. We focused yesterday more on non-devotees, but it's also association with the opposite sex. Yes, this is a very strong one, because this desire, sexual desire, is extremely strong in every living entity. Yes. So, and it is explained by Srila Prabhupada that women are the source of inspiration for men. So, it's completely natural in conditioned life, conditioned state, that we seek inspiration in the association of the opposite sex. But it's detrimental for our spiritual life. Therefore, if we want to associate with the opposite sex, we should marry and be properly situated in Grihastha ashram. Then, because it's ashram, it's a shelter, the word itself means shelter. That means that we are protected if we are properly married. Yes. But we can see that even brahmacharis many times they speak with Matajis and they laugh and they seek this energy, feminine energy. Yes, and this is detrimental for brahmacharis. And not just for brahmacharis. Even grihastas shouldn't associate with other women loosely. Yes. We should consider all other women except our wife as our mothers. Yeah. But we shouldn't associate with them like with our mother also. So we should be very careful. And those who are authorities in the temples, yes, it's very important, that we can recognize this tendency in devotees who live in the temple, for example, because we should help them. Because many times they don't even know, they don't even realize that something wrong in the association with the opposite sex, because it's so pleasurable to speak with another sex. Yes. And doesn't seem to create any harm at first, but influences our consciousness very much. So if we are brahmacharis, if we live in the temple, we should strictly avoid all association of women. And managers shouldn't put them together to perform some service. Yes. And even if we are grihastas, we should strictly avoid association of other women. That doesn't mean that we don't associate with our wife or with our husband, but not with others. Not with others. Yes, this is very important to understand. Yes, of course we should give up the association of materialists. We discussed this yesterday, more detailed. So, yes, this is important to understand. Jana sangascha laulyamcha. Laulyam has two meanings. One, which is commonly known, is to be greedy. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains that it's not just greed, it's also restlessness. To be restless, yes. And we know, as soon as we have material desires, we become restless. As explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna Bhakta Nishkama Ateva Shanta. Bhukti Mukti Siddhikami Sakala Shanta. So even if we want liberation, and we do want liberation, as long as we want to be free from pain. This is desire for liberation. What else? And if we want material things, of course, everything creates disturbance in our mind and moves away our focus, distracts our focus on serving Krishna. Yes. Therefore, it's so important to understand that these material desires and disturbances are detrimental for our spiritual life. They cannot help us. Dhyayato vishayam pumsakha sangasteshu pujayate sangat sanjayati kama krodha krodha Yes, that is the next verse. Kama krodot vijayate. Yes, kamat krodo vijayate. That means that dhyato vishayam pumsak. If we meditate on the object of the senses, we get attached to them. So we shouldn't meditate on the beginning about material things. As we explained in the beginning, we should not over-collect things. That means also that we don't meditate. We need this, we need that. I need this dress, I need these shoes, I need this car, and this and that. What is extremely necessary, we can accept this. And what is not, we shouldn't endeavor for them. And we should not crave for them either. Because it will create sangha, the attachment. It will create attachment. And of course, nothing can satisfy us really in this world, because everything is temporary. So everything will be taken sooner or later away from us, and therefore there is anger, strong anger, which destroys our intelligence, as explained by Krishna in the next verse. Yes. Okay, we'll stop here. So what we discussed today were these 6 detrimental items for devotional service, as explained by Rupa Goswami in Upadeshamrita. First was over-collecting or overeating, and then was over-endeavoring. That means that everything which is exaggeration in our life is detrimental for our life. Yes, we should be moderate in everything we do. Yes, in eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. And in all our life, focused, of course, on Krishna. If we are just moderate but not focused on Krishna, it's also detrimental for our spiritual life. Yes. Okay. Is there any questions or comments or doubts? Yes, please.
So, avoiding association with the opposite sex, it can be very difficult. We see in the beginning in women there was fanatics. I don't talk to women, So, in the course of service, daily life, we have to talk, and even can feel a little motherly or whatever, affection. So it's not like it can be fanatic. That's the point. And what about somebody who has homosexual tendencies? So, what he's going to do? So she's
yes. Okay. One by one. So, the first question was that we shouldn't be a fanatic. Yes. Or idea that we shouldn't be a fanatic. Yes, we should discuss what is absolutely necessary. And this is explained by Bhaktivinoda Thakur also, that it should be strictly business with other women or other men. Otherwise, it is explained, Nanvagnik Pramadanama, Grita Kumbha Samahpuman, that women are like fire and men are like butter, the pot of butter. So naturally it melts. Butter melts when in contact with fire. So we shouldn't take this cheaply. But if we have sexual desire, we should marry. This is the solution, not to flirt with other women or with other men.
somebody wants to get married, but nobody wants to marry them. So,
we should seek help from. We should seek help. We have these facilities in ISKCON that we can be helped in this way. Yes. Of course, we live in a very unfortunate environment. This Kali Yuga is very unfortunate because it's not the duty of a girl or a boy to search for their husband or wife. It's the duty of the parents. But we don't live in such a society. So ideally, as I read somewhere that Niranjana Swami recommended, that we should not seek our husband or wife. We should seek someone who can help us find husband or wife. Understood? No, we should not seek our own husband or wife, but we should seek the help of someone who can help us to find a husband or a wife.
yeah, you know, I mean, we've seen some couples, it doesn't work at all. Since you have to take some psychology, you know, like.
Yes, of course.
To ignore everything, you know, we just.
Of course.
And we've seen some couples, it's better, you know, divorce, you know.
Hare Krishna. If you are Krishna conscious and you want to be Krishna conscious, then these sinful things are never recommended. And divorce is, of course, sinful. Yes, it may seems harsh, but actually it is. In every spiritual culture, divorce is sinful. Of course, it was crazy in the early days that it was considered that we should marry to one we don't like. Have you heard this? This is, of course, craziness. We should marry, of course, the one we are attracted to. We shouldn't marry someone we hate. The idea was that we should marry those we don't like, then because of this we can become detached. But this is crazy idea, of course. We become detached by properly live according to the principles of devotional service, also in our married life. This is important. Yes, and to use our conditional nature to serve Krishna, because we can use also this propensity for sex in devotional service to Krishna. So yes, we shouldn't be a fanatic and marry someone we don't like, but we should marry someone we like, but and we should try to find someone who can help us to find someone we really like, that we are compatible in all regards, as much as possible, but because no one is completely compatible in this world. We should also know this. So this is also foolishness if we think that we can find someone who will, our soulmate, or how do they say now, that will completely be in heaven. As we discussed yesterday, every ashram is a sacrifice, is austerity. And if we enter any of the ashrams with the idea that we enjoy or that we will avoid some other duties of other ashrams, we will suffer. And it will be very possible to fall down from any ashram of the ashrams. Yes. So we should have proper spiritual consciousness. Yes. Yes. Also by entering in Grihastha ashram. It shouldn't be done just because of our lust or because we don't want to be alone, or just because we want to avoid this life in the temple. Yes. Or with the idea to enjoy the opposite sex. If we enter the Grihastha ashram with this idea that we will enjoy our senses, we will suffer. We will definitely suffer because we have so many responsibilities. Of course, this enjoyment, regulated enjoyment, comes with the ashram, but this shouldn't be our goal. Yes. So we should be careful. Yes. Okay? Is this okay? Not too much. Is there anything else you would like to discuss? Yes, please.
You said yesterday that it's grihasthas should not get married if they don't have children. Grihasthas should not be grihasthas if we don't have children. So I was wondering, because I know many grihasthas couples who marry for preaching purposes, like they would open preaching centers, or they have like temple or something. So is that wrong to do that?
I said that having children is Bhagavata-dharma. Yes, and as explained by our acharyas, there is a time for different duties in life. For example, when you're a young boy, you are a brahmachari, and then either you stay brahmachari or you marry. And when you're a young grihastha, you should have children. And when you're old grihastha, you should become detached and go out and preach as a vanaprastha and then sannyasi. So, for preaching purposes, one don't need to marry. Why? Sannyasis also preach. They preach much more than usually grihasthas. And brahmacharis also preach. So, then this marriage is just for sense gratification. If we don't take the responsibility of bringing up children in Krishna consciousness. Yes. And when we grow older, then we can devote ourselves to preaching, also as a couple. If both husband and wife are devotees, serious devotees, they can preach together. But we shouldn't be attached to our family life till the fag end of our life. So yes, husband and wife come together for this purpose, to have children.
But what if they don't want children, I
Yes, this is
They marry and then
this is modern idea. I want this, I don't want that.
yeah, but you know, let's say some people, some devotees marry at 45 or something. You know, it happened. So you say you got to have children, and you know. They
Yes, to get married at 45 is also modern problem.
yeah, but you know, we live in a crazy society, you know, and so
Yes.
you're talking like everything is ideal, you know, but it's not like that, you know.
We should know what is the ideal and apply it as far as possible.
I know we should know what is the idea, of course, but not like assume that everybody can be. You know, what about devotees with homosexual tendencies?
Yes, they should marry, but they should marry when they're young.
They should marry who?
I said that they should marry when they're young. When they are young. Do you understand?
They're not attracted to let them.
But if they marry when they're 50, what to do?
No, I'm talking about homosexuals.
Oh, homosexuals.
Those are homosexual tendencies, you know. So,
Homosexual tendencies are sinful.
yeah, I know, but when she said.
So you cannot marry. If you want to follow the principles of devotional service, then if you have homosexual tendencies, then you just be celibate.
Yeah, but then how you live with your fellow brahmacharis, but it can be very difficult, you know, and challenging.
Yes. If it's difficult for you, then you should leave the ashram. What to say? There was one devotee who was homosexual, and he asked Kadamba Karana Maharaj for initiation. And he said that he can initiate him if he remains celibate. Yes. So we should know what we want in our spiritual life. If we think that we can spiritually progress and don't follow the regulative principles, then we are just illusioned. It's not the question of our understanding. Yes, we can understand that everyone is illusioned and they cannot control their urges. This is perfectly understandable. And we can sympathize with such people. And we should sympathize with them. We should not judge them and show to them with our finger. But we shouldn't fool ourselves that we can advance spiritually and engage in a sinful life. This is another foolishness. Then it's just pouring ghee on the fire of our false ego. Understand? Then yes, you shouldn't be a fanatic. You should live according to your needs. Otherwise, you'll become you have psychological problems. No, this is not our philosophy. We should avoid sinful life. We should control ourselves. Otherwise, what the meaning of human life? Human is one who can control his urges, and the animal is not able to control its urges. Therefore, Prabhupada said to one of the disciples who said that I don't have a power to control myself. He said, then you are an animal. It's as simple as this. Yes, we can understand that people are more and more animalistic, but that doesn't mean that the process of Krishna consciousness is different for them. They of course will have longer way to purify their heart, but still they have to purify their heart if they want to become Krishna conscious. Yam yam vapi smaram bhavan tyajantyanti kalivaram tam tam aveti kanta sadatat bhava bhavita. That whatever state of consciousness one has at the end of life, that state he will undoubtedly achieve. Yes. So if we have material desires in our consciousness when we leave our body, we'll definitely achieve another material life. This is Krishna's directly speaking. So we should know what is beneficial and what is not. Yes. And that not everything is good. This is just illusion, that everything is good. Our conditioning is good. No, it's not. We are here to transcend our conditionings. Not to be lenient towards them. You understand?
No, but my question is more like concern how to do it, how to deal with devotees,
Yes, we should be very loving to devotees, even if they have problems. This is our duty also to other devotees. We should be very loving, not judgmental. Help them in every way possible to be accepted, to be understood, to be cared for, to be loved. This is our duty, not to be shunned or to be rejected, but to be cared and loved for. This is important. But we shouldn't fool ourselves that by our conditionings we can achieve love for Krishna.
Yes. My point was like, I'm reading the book about non-violent communication again, so judging, but different from evaluating. So, if somebody is not following such principles, we have a tendency to judge, or they're not doing this,
Yes. I said that we shouldn't judge. Huh? I said that we shouldn't judge.
Yeah, but it's difficult not to judge because we have...
Yes. This is also another conditioning, judgmental conditioning. It's also detrimental for devotional service. Yes. Not just not to follow the principles, but also to judge others is also detrimental. This is prajalpa. We discussed prajalpa. Yes. So yes. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Pramanandi. Hari Hari.